I've been digging through the latest action games hitting Nintendo's platforms, and there are some real surprises here. From gritty reimaginings of classic franchises to complex RPGs that'll consume your weekends, this list covers games that actually deserve your time and money. I'll be honest, if you've never touched a Yakuza game, this one's the perfect starting point. You play as Kiryu, a low-level Yakuza member who gets framed for murder in 1980s Japan. What starts as a simple revenge story spirals into this sprawling tale of betrayal, honor, and corporate corruption. The game constantly switches between serious crime drama and completely ridiculous side activities like managing a cabaret club or singing karaoke. It's this tonal whiplash that makes Yakuza special. One minute you're having an emotional conversation about brotherhood, the next you're fighting a guy with a traffic cone as a weapon. The combat feels satisfying without being overly complex, and the world is packed with distractions that somehow never feel like padding.
The next hot tip, though, you've got to get around and keep that antenna up. That's how you make it big in this city. They tell you it's a buffet of college babes, but you get there and it's hag salad.
After all the controversy, Cyberpunk finally feels like the game it was supposed to be at launch. You're V, a mercenary trying to make it big in Night City before a digital ghost named Johnny Silverhand starts taking over your brain. The story deals with themes of identity, corporate control, and what makes us human in a world where you can replace every part of yourself. Night City itself is the real star. It's this oppressive, neon-soaked metropolis where every street corner has a story. The gunplay and hacking mechanics work well together, and the character progression gives you real choice in how you approach problems. Yes, it's still got some rough edges, but this version includes all the major fixes and expansions. If you wrote it off before, it's worth reconsidering.
There is no us.
So go out and play. Just don't get played.
Just come out and say it. You don't trust Myers.
No, her type is all.
Politicians.
This is a sequel to Ender Lilies that takes place decades later in a world overrun by corrupted artificial beings called homunculi. You play as Lilac, an attuner who can purify these machine-like creatures that have been driven mad by toxic underground fumes. The story centers around saving both humans and homunculi in this post-apocalyptic fantasy setting called the Land of Fumes. What makes this Metroidvania special is how you defeat bosses. Instead of just killing them, you're purifying their souls and adding them to your party. Each purified homunculi becomes a new ability you can call upon in combat. The art style is hauntingly beautiful, with this gothic fairy tale aesthetic that makes even the darkest moments feel somehow elegant. The boss fights are challenging but fair, and the feeling of satisfaction when you finally take down a tough enemy is genuinely euphoric. This is the 8th main entry in the Trails series, continuing Van Arkride's story as he navigates the political intrigue of Calvard Republic. If you haven't played the first Daybreak, you'll be lost. This series is notorious for its interconnected storylines that span multiple games. Van works as a Spriggan, basically a problem solver who takes on jobs that exist in legal gray areas. The story deals with ancient mysteries, political conspiracies, and personal relationships that have been building for literally decades of real-world time. Combat blends turn-based strategy with real-time movement, and every character feels distinct to play. The writing is dense. We're talking novel-length dialogue and world-building that puts most fantasy books to shame. This isn't a game you play casually. It demands attention and rewards patience with some of the best character development in gaming. You play as So, a warrior protecting a divine maiden named Yoshiro, who must purge villages of supernatural defilement and restore peace to the legendary Mount Kafuku. The gameplay cleverly blends action-focused combat with real-time strategy and tower defense elements. During the day, you explore villages, rescue people, and set up defenses. At night, you fight off waves of monsters while protecting Yoshiro as she performs purification rituals. What's unique is how you can assign different combat roles to rescued villagers, archers, spearmen, woodcutters, and position them strategically around the battlefield. The visual design is striking, with character and monster designs that feel both disturbed and beautiful, creating this sense that the world truly needs purification. So's combat was inspired by Kagura, an ancient ceremonial dance form, which gives the fighting a unique rhythmic flow. It's unlike anything else on the platform. Hey, quick pause here. If you're enjoying this look at some of Switch's finest games, hit that subscribe button for more content like this. Let me know in the comments which of these games you've played or are excited to try. Now, let's continue with our lineup. Set in Japan's Taisho era, you play as RAIDOU Kuzunoha XIV, an apprentice detective who moonlights as a devil summoner assigned to protect the capital. The story begins when a young heiress approaches a detective agency with a strange request to kill her. But before she can explain, she's kidnapped. What starts as a missing persons case spirals into a conspiracy that threatens the entire nation, involving investigations across the city and ventures into the dark realm, where demons roam. This is part of the Shin Megami Tensei family, so expect demon fusion, turn-based combat with real-time movement, and mature themes about power and corruption. The remaster adds quality-of-life improvements, reworked demon fusion, and enhanced combat systems that make it more accessible than the original PS2 release. The story feels darker than typical Persona games, but not quite as heavy as mainline SMT, hitting this sweet spot between accessibility and depth.
Hey, RAIDOU, how's the investigation going?
You're a nameless hunter who travels to Azuma, a fantasy world inspired by feudal Japan, to hunt massive monsters called kimono. These aren't just big animals, they're described as a fusion of nature and animals that have been corrupted by some unknown force. What sets this apart from Monster Hunter is the Karakuri system. You can build contraptions during combat like crates to leap off for aerial attacks, shields for defense, or even complex machines that persist on the battlefield. The story involves helping the town of Minato rebuild, while investigating why the kimono began their rampage through the once prosperous land. The Switch 2 version supports up to 4 players in co-op, and includes balance improvements from the original release. Performance isn't perfect and the visuals took a hit compared to other platforms, but the core monster hunting loop remains addictive. This entry takes the farming life sim formula to feudal Japan, where you play as a guardian protecting rural communities from supernatural threats. Like other Rune Factory games, you're splitting time between farming crops, building relationships with townspeople, and exploring dungeons filled with monsters. The story centers around mysterious rifts appearing across the land that spawn dangerous creatures, and you're one of the few people capable of sealing them. What I appreciate about this series is how the farming isn't just busy work. The crops you grow become ingredients for cooking, which provides buffs for dungeon crawling. The relationship system is deep, with each character having their own story arc that unfolds over time. Combat feels more action-oriented than traditional JRPGs, with real-time battles that reward timing and positioning.
Ooh, what'd you find, huh?
This is Bandai Namco's radical reimagining of Pac-Man as a dark sci-fi Metroidvania where you play as Swordsman Number 8, awakened by a floating yellow orb called Puck on a mysterious alien planet. The story follows your journey through a wasteland, filled with relics of an ancient intergalactic war, as you discover your purpose and the truth behind Puck's intentions. Combat combines traditional hack and slash with the ability to fuse with Puck and traverse surfaces like classic Pac-Man, consuming enemies to grow stronger. You can also transform into Gaia, a larger mecha form for fighting bigger threats. Bandai Namco created this to appeal to younger audiences who might not have the same connection to traditional Pac-Man, while maintaining the core concepts of mazes, consumption, and sudden power reversals. It's ambitious but doesn't quite stick the landing. The execution feels safe despite the bold concept. Capcom brought their A-game with this one. The story mode follows a custom character as they explore Metro City, training under classic fighters while uncovering a conspiracy involving the mysterious organization behind the previous game's events. What impressed me most is how they made the World Tour mode feel like a proper single-player experience, rather than just tutorial content. You're walking around this open hub world, getting into street fights, learning moves from legendary fighters, and gradually building your own fighting style. The core fighting mechanics are accessible enough for newcomers, but deep enough to satisfy longtime fans. The drive system adds this risk-reward element, where you're constantly managing your meter for offense, defense, and special moves. Online play is solid, and the rollback netcode means you can actually find good matches. The roster feels balanced with returning favorites and interesting newcomers. Hey, let me know what you think about these games. Maybe you've played some and have a different take, or maybe something here caught your eye. Drop a comment, let's chat about it. See you in the next one.